All right, welcome to the 301 Club, everybody.
Yes, welcome back, guys.
Welcome back. Don't forget to like and subscribe
Yes, sir.
to our channel. And happy Valentine's Day to everyone in a relationship out there.
Yeah, and if it already passed, it might, depends on when this gets posted, but
Yeah, we're shooting this,
maybe
February.
belated happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, to whoever. I mean,
Yeah.
you might also be out of a relationship at this point because sometimes relationships fail, and also in business, right?
Yeah, true.
So-
That's funny. It just happened to us.
Yeah.
Kind of. So
So
if you want to touch on that.
We had someone come by and try to help us out to be an assistant because as we're expanding our brand, we're starting to find that we need to schedule events. And, we went to an event today. We did a few this week that we'll talk about.
Yeah, it makes things easier just to have someone do that versus us doing it.
Yeah.
Time.
Unfortunately, I think it's really important that for her, she didn't have the mindset of similar to us as to where we are trying to be independent and build wealth in our 20s so that way we can retire by the time in our mid 30s.
Yeah.
But what that requires is really hard work. Yeah, resignation. Not retire, but resonate.
Yeah.
Resign.
Yeah.
So
we'll touch on that later.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, for sure.
Resignation versus retirement. It's funny.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, she just had another opportunity to
it happens all the
live
time.
for free. And, some people want to take a comfortable route and some people want to take the high road. We're on that path. Even today we went to an event, and actually you found an event on Wednesday. You want to go ahead and talk about that?
Yeah, so like we're trying to stay current, we're trying to stay up to date, research whatever it is. We're like looking for things to do to talk about, and add value to everybody that's watching. So me and you figured we'd find an event to go to. Looked on Eventbrite. A lot of people may know what that already is. It's just like an app that helps people who are hosting events posted, free or not free, depends on what it is. I found this. We were looking for real estate events, and we found one. I found one on Eventbrite that was free online though. But yeah, it was cool. I mean, we both attended. We were sitting here in the living room watching on the TV, and I learned a lot for sure. Totally worth it. I think it gave me like a few epiphanies or like ideas that might, we might implement. Some we've already touched on, which was like the LLC thing, and then we heard some other stuff about taxes and leasing out to yourself, stuff like that. But we'll get into it for sure.
Yeah, we can jump right into it.
Yeah.
I mean, to start off, something that we've actually been practicing ourselves, and we heard this gentleman, Frank McCormack, talk about, is that, when you get a mortgage, usually they're going to be 30-year long, or they could be 15 years. True. But what happens is, especially in times in like 2023 right now, where the Fed actually just increased the interest rate a few basis points.
Damn.
Pretty
high now.
This week. So
yeah,
looking like inflation isn't cooling down. So people are going to be in the market to refinance in a few years possibly. But what you may not know is that when you refinance, your amortization schedule starts all over again. And so what's happening is you're paying mostly interest to the bank. Pretty much 80% of your payment,
your monthly mortgage,
your monthly payment is going straight to the bank for the first about 18 years.
Yeah.
And then it flips, and then the bank actually starts making money, or making less money on you, because you've been making your payments on time, only if you're doing that.
Right.
However, if you do refinance, the amortization schedule starts all the way back over again. And again, you're going back to an 80% interest rate to the bank versus a 20% to the principal. And the way out of that is to just apply more to your principal every month. Yeah.
And then some don't have a prepayment penalty, and that's important. I know we've talked about that. And for those that don't know what it is, they can, watch our We Bought a House series. It's on our YouTube channel. Check that out. So we bought a house and we talked about that. And if you get a mortgage, definitely try to make sure that there is no prepayment penalty. And what that means is just paying more on top of your mortgage. Let's say your mortgage is $2,000. You decide to pay a little more. You pay $2,500. That $500 goes directly to your principal. So that's always a good idea to just pay more than what you already have there set.
Yeah, I think that was a great fun fact.
Yeah,
from that seminar. And another thing that we supported our journey into financial freedom is that he talked about paying off your house early, but including paying it through an LLC. So what that means is you're going to use a quick claim, and we're not talking about quitting, pursuing becoming a millionaire. You might want to quit your job. You might need to do that at some point. I think we're trying to do that, and if you're watching, it's totally possible in your mid 20s. So what a quick claim is that you're transferring your property to your LLC. And in that process, you're going to have to pay maybe 0.5%, 1% transfer tax fees.
Yeah.
But what that allows you to do is also move the utilities into that LLC, into that company, and then
Yeah.
you can write those off, and you're basically saving on a bunch of taxes.
And then I think he also mentioned that you can lease it to yourself. We're still trying to like figure that part out and like do our research, but because we're trying to do that ourselves, we haven't figured out 100%, but we're in the process of doing that now. We're in the talks with loan officers, just experts and mentors that we have. But yeah, essentially, you know, do all that, transfer title, then just lease it out to yourself, and then you're pretty much paying the LLC that you created for the lease that you're of the property that you're staying at, which is technically owned by the LLC. Um, so yeah, it's something that we've talked about, and yeah, I mean, it's definitely sounds doable. We're doing it right now. We're in the process of doing it.
Right. I was gonna say, I think like I was gonna say for all the Marylanders out there, it's about 100. It's $50 to register an LLC. However, if you want to get expedited processing, it adds some more to the cost. So I think it was in total about 150 for us.
Yeah.
But that's to have the paperwork done in 2 weeks. If you want it in 6 to 8 weeks, then it's only going to be $50 straight up.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple process. We mean you sat down, we were doing it, and it was like easy. I thought it was gonna be hard, and like there were gonna be things that we had to like have ready to go, and it's just basic information, you know, personal information, you know, that's really it. And then I guess what it really comes down to is having that plan after the fact. Like creating the LLC might not be hard, but I think the hard part comes in is like, what are you gonna do with that LLC? How are you gonna, you know, go about it? And we decided real estate, and then maybe that the leasing idea and all the information we just mentioned. So it's probably the route we're gonna take. You know, we're doing our research for sure. That's the most important thing. And you know, once we do, we'll come back with more, you know, information and as far as it worked, it's possible, definitely, you know. But for sure, that's the ideas that this guy kind of gave. And we didn't know anything. I mean, we kind of maybe had an idea of leasing it to ourselves, but this guy kind of was like, "Yeah, it's the move to make. Transfer utilities, just pay yourself."
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then, that all goes in with retiring versus resigning, right?
Yeah, as like I mentioned earlier, it's funny. Like I think people have this misconception that, like, me and you've talked about it all the time. We're trying to retire early. We're trying to retire early. But I think, and I know when we talk to people, it's always like they have this like they may I don't know this, but I feel like there's this misconception when they hear retirement, they think 60s, like retiring when you're older. But this guy, he's funny. He's like, we're not trying to retire. We're trying to resign. Like resignation versus retirement. And I think that's a good way to like kind of think about it, because we're trying to quit our jobs, resign, and live like the way we want to live. And it's funny, this dude is like, he made references to the Matrix. He made references to the elites. I'm like, yo, this guy.
Well, if you're talking about the Matrix, he's talking about the tax matrix.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. That's true. But he said the elites too, so I was like, this guy.
Yeah, it's true.
It was funny, but like, long story short, he was just trying to say like, yeah, like we're just trying to create, you know, financial. Well, what I took away from it was like we're trying to free ourselves, essentially financial freedom, and you know, be our own bosses, make our own money, and do all that. And so yeah, like the new thing I think to say is like resignation. Like we're trying to resign early. You know, we're not gonna necessarily retire because we'll probably still be working, but we'll be working for ourselves and doing what we want to do and like, you know, what we love to do, I guess.
Yeah, so let's take a step back into the matrix for a second, the tax matrix, and let's talk about what essentially creating this LLC, which is what we're doing, is a priority in the process of becoming a millionaire, because what you're going to be able to do is take your profits from the rental income and then store it into another property, and then at the end of the day, you're paying way less taxes, probably like 40% less overall. Compared to if you were an income earner, so like a W-2 wage earner, which is not bad if you want to choose that life. But once again, at the end of the day, you need the mindset that you're going to learn the tax code and become financially savvy and get through the process of going from broke to a millionaire. And that's going to require you to know taxes.
Yeah, definitely. I was looking at that when it came up on during the presentation, and it does definitely seems like the way to go is to have your own business, and you know what I mean, just save more on taxes. There's different things you can do, LLC. But yeah, definitely a move.
You can save money in taxes, or you can buy used products instead of new products. And we went to an event today that we actually found, local newspaper. Remember, folks, this is something that you got to keep your eye on. We found a lot of our events through local, probably half and half at this point. But what we really went
social
there
media
for,
too.
Yeah, social media,
Moco, what was it? Moco
News as well.
No, like the show.
Moko
Local
Show.
show, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, the Moko Show. That's right.
yeah,
You can follow them at the Moko Show.
yeah. If you're from Maryland, you know where
Yeah,
that
shout
is.
out
I know what
20872.
that
That's where
is.
we went today,
Yeah.
Damascus, Maryland.
They had a used, so it was pretty much like a used electronics, used car type of program that they have for MCPS, I believe, right?
Yeah, it was like I think MCPS, Montgomery County Public School students.
Yeah.
They refurbish cars, and then they have like an event every quarter, once a quarter, to sell these cars for a little bit lower than market rate. Because I remember we found, what was that one car we
It
saw?
was a Civic. It was like a Honda
Yeah,
Civic. I think it was the EX.
it was about 4,500, something like that. But
Yeah.
you checked
Online,
on
there was like one going for like, it was Carfax. It was
6K.
going for like, yeah, like a little over 550, 500. So it was almost close to 6K. Yeah. So
Yeah, and
it's interesting.
yeah, I mean, they have the whole price breakdown, and comment below if you really think it's a better idea to buy used than new, and if you have any reason for that, we'd love to hear,
Yeah.
because we're strong proponents for doing it to save money.
And
But
they had this cool. They have their federal credit union. I know you were gonna get into that.
yeah,
They're on site, and then you don't necessarily have to have the money at hand. They have like places like this or events like this that they actually provide, which is cool. You know, they have people representatives there and provide help on maybe getting a car loan, even if it's for a used car. So that's interesting.
yeah, they do cars, mortgages, a lot of different things, refis, and specifically, this is a credit union, which is different than your local bank. Like Bank of America, big national chain. This one really only supports in Maryland if you graduated from an MCPS school, or if you're a teacher currently working, things of that nature. And what that does is it allows them to keep your mortgage within their hands. And because usually when you're buying a mortgage from a bigger bank, they sell off your mortgage.
I know what
And
happened to you. Yeah.
yeah, that actually happened to us. They sold it twice.
Damn.
And sometimes it might make it so that you have to pay it with only checks or something like that.
Yeah, that's what
But
he was
luckily
saying.
for us, we stayed electronic,
Yeah.
because they
Truist.
actually they transferred it to Truist, so they're still a pretty savvy bank.
Up to date. Yeah.
Yeah, bigger
Online
branch.
savvy,
But
online banking.
definitely check out your credit union in your local neighborhood, because he gave us some information that about you can still be a first time home buyer, even if you have your name on a title.
Title. Yeah, he was like, families will sometimes put their kids on their title. Doesn't mean that they can't still take advantage of the first time home buyers. So it was a great point, essentially meaning that just because you're on a title but you've never gotten a mortgage, you can still qualify for a first time home buyer. Incentives, programs, whatever it may be, grants. So yeah, it's interesting. So I know we've talked to several people. Some people say that that's not how it happens, but we learned through the actual source, which was, we talked to the loan officer that was there that day today earlier. So yeah, he gave us the real facts. He's like, yeah, not a problem. If you're on a title, it's okay as long as you didn't have a loan or it wasn't under your name. Loan wasn't under your name. That works out. So like in my situation, I can still qualify, I guess, for first time home buyer advantages.
Yes, sir. And I know that you've also been saving money in other ways.
Yes, for sure. So like I know there was just one thing. So I just happened I know I mentioned it to you. My car insurance. I was under my brother's car insurance, and then he got dropped, and then I had to find my own car insurance. And it was like a family car, so there's like something called the gift certificate. So if a family member has a car and they want to gift you a car, if you do a gift certificate, you can avoid paying taxes, I believe, because I know when you get a car or a new car, usually used cars as well. I think it's used cars. You pay taxes on it once you register and get your title and whatnot. And so, that's a way to kind of like get around that. If you have a family member that's willing to gift you a car, maybe it's a beater family car. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's working, it's working. As long as there's no check engine. If there is a check engine, if there's issues with it, if it's older than 20 years, you can also apply for historic tags, which you don't need an inspection, you don't need emissions tests. So that's kind of a way around it, I guess, but it has to be more than 20 years old. And there's other options to it too. I think there's like 3 options on the application. So, do your research for sure. It's that's out there. So maybe you find a used car that's like a 2001, it works, but there's like minor few little things that, that are not right with it, but it runs. Well, you can take advantage of the historic plates. Only unfortunate thing is that you're only allowed to drive it on weekends. But I mean, if it's just something you use to drive to, like, on the weekends, you need to take care of things. If you have like a job that's closer around and you can like take the bus or, walk, or if, in my situation, I'm lucky. I work from home. So, what I mean? It works out. Yeah. Those are ways to save money.
Yeah, tax cuts, tax breaks, tax deductions. This is all sounding great, man, especially on their journey to financial freedom. So that's going to be the end of the episode today. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes, sir.
Comment below if you have any opinions or if you want to talk about your local credit union. And we'll see you on the other side.
See you guys.